Welcome to another episode of Building Loved Businesses, the podcast where we have great conversations with founders, leaders of companies that locals love to buy from and work for. Today's a great one. I'm here with the founder and owner of Atlas Gutter Co., Branden Hiles. We're going to talk about his entrepreneurial journey in the home services industry. So, Branden, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So, walk us through up until Atlas, when you founded Atlas. What were you doing before that, and what led you to want to go out on your own?
Yeah, so before I was working for a custom home builder. Also, though, I was doing gutters on the side. Started out installing gutters, selling gutters, and at the same time, I've been in the guard for about 12, 13 years now. So
okay.
Yep.
So you were doing custom building, and gutters were like a side hustle before we called it that.
Yeah, yep.
What led you to say, all right, I'm going to take the jump and get into this as my own business and do it full time?
Well, I think simply there was a strong demand for it, and that's always a little bit easier to kind of make that jump. However, I just love it. I enjoy it, and I felt, I guess you could say, happier doing gutters. And so I guess that was easy for me, I guess, right away to know that, hey, this is something that I want to do, and I want to do it on my own.
So as that side business is ramping up, what was the kind of comfort level that was there thinking, okay, there's enough business, there's enough demand here that I can start my own thing? What were the signs? What were you tracking? What were you looking for?
Well,
because I think there's lots of people out there, right, that are like, I've got this full-time job, but this is my dream.
Yeah.
And they want to know, when do I go all in?
Yeah, well, I mean, numbers is a big thing to look at. I think when you're looking at, how much work you have lined up, and then have that realization, wow, I have enough work here to kind of go over the line of what my income is at my regular job. And so there's always that safety net of knowing, hey, I can financially support myself while taking that jump.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was my approach. And it did get to a point where it was almost overwhelming. There was a lot of work, and out of respect, for your employer, there comes a certain point where enough's enough. You got to make that move.
Yeah. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and 10 was like, oh yeah, that was easy as pie. Where would you put yourself on that scale?
Well, if you put everything together, I would say probably a 5.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is,
you knew how to hang gutters.
Yes, exactly. I'm great at hanging gutters, and I feel like I'm confident, great at selling gutters. But the business side of it is where that lower number comes in. That was a shock, and especially when you're trying to grow and you have employees and you have all of that to look out for. That was a big kind of adjustment and shock to get into.
Yeah. So describe those early days, right? So you start the business, you go all in. To your point, now you're running a business. It's not just a side hustle. You're running a business. You're hiring people. Just tell me what those early days were like.
Well, we were in a loading dock of a Dollar Tree, and I was literally bringing people in for interviews on the side of a curb on a loading dock. And from ordering material to, just figuring everything out. My office, if you want to call it, was at home. And so, a lot of it was learning as we were going. But thankfully, a lot of it did work out, and we were able to develop a team. But in those early days, it was a lot of just learning as I go and making those adjustments.
What were some of the early wins that you had that kind of gave you that sense that, I could do this?
I always felt like winning work was like the big win. But after being in a while and looking back, I would say the employee side of it, and having guys on your team that show up and like showing up. And jokingly, I look back at pictures, and I remember I have a picture of where that bump out is on the Dollar Tree. And in the morning, there was no vehicles there, but we had 3 or 4 guys working. Well, nearly none of them had driver's license. And now, I have a lot where, the guys thankfully do have a driver's license. It's little things like that that might seem little, but are huge. And especially I would say our culture within our team, that's what I'm most thankful for right now. I mean, it's just hard to do. It's hard to accomplish that.
Yeah. Now, just describe the business today. Right? What does Atlas look like today?
Yeah, so we're not in the Dollar Tree loading dock anymore.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So we now have a shop office in Harrisburg. Right now we're running 2 crews, and we also have a gal that's helping out with kind of the whole client success journey. Yep. From start to finish. She's there to help out with the entire process. And so, right now we're sticking to what we know. We're doing gutters, but we're growing, and I'd say in a nutshell, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so we talked about the wins and what you look like today, but what were some of the early struggles? You alluded to this a little bit, right? And I see this with entrepreneurs a lot. They're really good at the thing, or they really like the thing. And then they start a business and they're doing everything but the thing.
Yep.
Or they're doing the thing during normal business hours, and then the other 8 hours of the day, they're doing the rest of the job.
Yeah.
So what were some of those early struggles for you?
Well, yeah, in the beginning, I started out just as me. For the longest time, I didn't have anyone. And even with gaining more employees, there was things that I struggled to let go of. Yeah. And so, I was doing everything, installing all day to then coming, spending the evenings maybe doing bids. And then in the late night, then putting together invoices, all of that. I mean, I was doing everything. And I would say that the biggest struggle was even in the beginning, just letting go of just the install side. And I'd say I still struggle with that a little bit, but in the beginning, it would just been a hard no. Like, it's just something that I was always involved with. And I think it's important to, at least for a period, to understand what you're doing and have that level of respect, within your guys. So I saw the importance of it, but there comes a point where you do have to let go and focus on what's important for the business.
Yeah. And early on, what kind of guidance did you have on those kind of things? I heard you say you were figuring out a lot as you go, but did you have other people that you leaned on, other business owners, other advisors that were helping you figure this out, or was it you just jumped in the deep end?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I would look back on how maybe business owners I worked for, how they operated, and maybe what worked, what didn't work, and kind of use that. But for the most part, no, I didn't really have much to lean on.
Yeah. Okay. Then at some point, and you're I have to tell you, you're the first one on the podcast to be interviewed.
Oh, great.
That has actually been working with me. What led you to that? To start seek knowing that you needed to seek some guidance and then coming to work with me?
Well, I think there's 2 sides of it. For one, and maybe the most important at its base level, is the accountability.
Yeah.
Just having someone that's going to hold me accountable through the things that maybe I do like, but especially things I don't like.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of things where I just had to let go. I really don't know what's the best route for this. And I was kind of tired of maybe making those mistakes. And rather having someone help guide me through that, instead of, constantly going back and be like, that was probably a bad idea.
Right. Yeah. I cringe whenever I hear people say that experience is the best teacher.
Right.
That's a painful teacher.
Right.
The best,
I had that teacher for a while.
The best teacher is other people's experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Learning from what others have done. Not that it's cookie cutter, right? But that there are lessons that can be applied across. So you love hanging gutters. You love the business. You're proud of what you've built. But there's this gap between what you said, what you wanted, and what you had, and what you knew it could be. So
Yeah.
what
Yep.
what did it look? What was preventing you from achieving that at that point?
I think I was just stuck in what maybe I thought needed to be done without looking more forward. And so again, just being stuck in maybe the day-to-day stuff, getting through the day and getting to the next day. But just being able to be more forward-minded. Now doing some of the stuff that we have done, I see the fruit of it now, but sometimes it's hard to see it when you're in the day-to-day. So I think just that mindset of being able to look forward. But again, for me, how could I even do that when I don't know what to do? And so again, with a lot of the educational side of, but the accountability again too of making those things happen.
Yeah, all right. It's the classic. If you're working in the business 12, 15 hours a day, it's really hard to find time to work on the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. We'll talk about some of the time stuff later because I want to talk about your new hire. But before we do that, one of kind of your breakthroughs here was really honing in on your ideal customer.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that, about how you shifted a little bit who you work for or who you work with. Just talk through that process.
Yeah, so in the beginning, a large majority of our work was subcontracted work, meaning working through a contractor. And recently the shift has been working more for direct with the homeowners, and the benefit of that for not only us but with the customer is being able to actually follow our process that we've developed. We have more control over the project, and we're a gutter guy. Like our focus is on gutters, and whether it's a general contractor, wherever it might be, they're great and they're great at the entire deal. But again, if you want someone that's hyper focused on that particular task that they're doing, that's where we come in and we can really thrive. When we have that full communication, again, we're following that process that we've created. It's just a big benefit for not only us, but for the customer as well.
Yeah, I know a big part of that is that direct communication with the customer, right? The homeowner, right?
That's huge for us.
So that you can be much more likely to get their timetable, exactly what they want. Just talk through that a little bit.
Yeah, so a lot of times, again, we've run into situations where, not only just things aren't ready, but maybe, again, that communication wasn't clear on what the homeowner's problems were or what they're looking to accomplish. And again, when we're going out there, my goal is to identify that and make sure that they're getting what they actually need or want instead of it just being another thing that's on the list of the contractor to get done.
Right. And the other piece of this is that you're able to be along with them from the start of the process.
Yep.
Right. Is answering the inquiry, going to the home, inspecting it, looking at it really closely, right? But when we started working together, you had kind of tried to get out of the sales and marketing, right? By having a salesperson, and you were still doing obviously a lot of the sales. But talk about that shift to where you saw that in the business that you have today, that sales and marketing role was critical for where you spent your time.
Well, the most obvious thing was just the amount of leads that just took a big dive. There wasn't anything coming through and things were really slowing down. But again, with figuring out what worked and continuing to do that thing that worked, it just, we were able to bring ourselves to a spot where we could be more reliant on that direct work and the leads were more consistent. And I mean, at space level, that's the best way to describe it. And I think without that, I don't know, I don't know how people survive without it, but that was critical for us.
Yeah. And I know one of the other big lessons you had too was, again, when you're a young business, your ideal customer is whoever's willing to pay.
Right. Yeah.
And, but part of that was there were some really attractive big custom jobs, right? Where they're going to pay way more. Yeah. But what did you learn about those jobs?
Well, with those jobs, again, looking at the entire picture, it looks great generally on paper. But again, with them being custom, it's usually something that's a little bit unique to what we do. Again, it might be gutters, but we tend to stick to a specific profile. So again, that more involvement for myself. And then there's always the pain issue and going through the contracts. And again, you're kind of you're at the mercy of their schedule. And so there's, again, a lot of times beggars can't be choosers, but if we have the ability to identify our ideal customer, that's the route that we want to take. And we still do some of that commercial work. But we've been able to identify those contractors that are good, that understand our process and kind of respect that side of it.
Right. You're able to be more selective to work with the ones who work really good with you.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So then part of this too, as I alluded to earlier, was really getting a deep understanding of where your time was going and where you needed to spend it. Right. So talk through that. What did you learn by going through that process?
Well, I would say before we started meeting, I was still frequently on the truck. And even when it wasn't necessary, I'd go and help out a full crew do a job. And that might have been great to expedite that job for the day. But I wasn't looking at the way I figured every time I'm on the truck, it was great in that moment, but that costed me nearly 3 days of things that weren't getting done. And so, a lot of it was, again, on the base side, getting off the truck. But then even beyond that, I was doing things day to day within the office that could have been passed along or now are passed along as well. And being able to focus more on the business. It's something I'm still working on, but again, looking forward, it's such a big difference.
Yeah, great. Let's talk about that. So what led you to hire someone to come into the office, right? Because first, like you said, you're doing everything, right? You're hanging gutters and you're doing the admin and the sales and, right?
Yeah.
And by really specializing in the work that you do and the customer you serve, you were able to make it so you didn't have to be in the field all the time. Okay. But now you're still kind of doing everything else. Right?
Yep.
So what led you to say, all right, I think I need to hire someone else in the office, and how did you do that?
I got to a point where it was just overwhelming. Again, with the marketing and those leads coming in consistently, I was just overwhelmed. I realized now in the office, I can't do everything. And I tried to, and things were falling through the cracks. And again, a lot of the items were stuff that maybe I struggled to let go of, but on its core, really simple and should have been let go of a long time ago. And so, just identifying those items, putting together that time optimization sheet, and then being able to create that position. And I think we found a great fit to where, those are freeing up a lot more time, and I'm able to work more on the business than inside of it.
Yeah. And how has that? Just talk more about what the real benefit has been to you, to where you can focus your time now.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing is time, being able to have more time, but also kind of, like I said, the things that slip through the cracks. Someone that's hyper focused on those particular tasks can kind of manage that a little bit better, to where if you're obviously spread out, you're kind of, getting okay at a lot of different things, to where she can be great at, those few things. And so, that's been huge. Again, customers appreciate it when someone calls now, someone always picks up or at least gets back right away. Because there was a long period too, especially, these past couple of months where the phone was just ringing nonstop with me trying to do everything, being on assessments or whatever the case might be. I wasn't able to answer the phone, and having someone to simply just do that, I think is critical.
Yeah. And now you talked earlier about culture, Right?
Mhm.
So a big part of that is communication, right? And I know you're having regular get-togethers with your team in your shop, and just talk through that. How do you think about spreading that culture within your business?
Yeah, in the beginning, we had meetings every once in a while, but yeah, so every Monday morning we have a meeting, and again, we're a smaller group, but seeing what comes out of that communication every Monday is huge. I notice the guys often will kind of, I don't say look forward to it, but there's things I know they're going to get off their chest in that meeting, and it's big. I mean, we use it for training opportunities to go back on maybe some warranty things, safety, but yeah, it's a great way for us to stay connected and have that open communication.
Yeah. You've talked about with this hiring someone in the office that it's allowed you to give up some things. Right? A lot of things. But earlier on, you said that was really hard, right? To give those things up. So what's been the hardest for you to hand off? What was like they had to pry your fingers off of it?
I would say probably taking that first initial step of taking in the calls. Taking in the calls for new customers and setting up that whole initial process. Again, that's a big part of why I like being a business owner is those relationships that you develop.
Yeah.
But what's even better is showing up to an assessment and then being super happy to be, making those positive comments of talking to Abigail. And that's big, the fact that I was able to let that go and now someone's doing it and doing a great job. I mean, that's been huge for me.
Yeah. Let's travel back now. You're back to the start.
Yeah.
What do you know now that you wish you had known then?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah. And maybe what do you wish you had done sooner?
I wish I would have been a little more intentional on the hiring process. I know in the recent environment, it's common for people to be like, "Oh man, it's so hard to find good people," and I get that to an extent, but I think good people are out there. You just got to look a little bit harder, and I think I would have put a lot more focus on that, and then kind of throwing up the towel and being like, "This is what we get." There is good people out there, but you got to look for it, and again. Having an interview on the side of a Dollar Tree isn't always the most attractive. But I think being more intentional with that and also having a better understanding of just the important things in business and again, being more forward thinking and in the next step.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of forward thinking, where do you see Atlas going in the future? What is your vision as you look out a couple of years?
Well, I would say ideally we would have a couple more crews here in town. Again, I would like us to be in a spot where we're primarily direct, being able to work directly with homeowners, and who knows, maybe another location. Fully putting together our process to be able to replicate it. I think those are all great goals to work towards, and hopefully, we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah. Sounds like a great vision.
Yeah.
What will that mean for you? You've had to evolve your role now. How will you have to continue to evolve as the business grows?
I think letting go of stuff. Not only letting go of stuff, but just trusting the process and being able to have your faith in your crew and understanding the things that you have control of, the things that you don't. I think those are the primary things that I'd be looking at.
Yeah. And what are the things that as you grow that you want to continue again personally to get better at, to be an even better leader for your business?
I'd like to. I always want to stay. I don't want to be too distant from what's going on, and I think that's especially important with our guys too. We do have a pretty tight group. I always want to stay connected and have a good pulse of what's going on. I don't want to get too far out to where I have that level of disconnection, but again, also I have the understanding that some of that stuff you still have to let go of. But yeah, I think as long as we can stick to what we're good at and just double down on that, I think that's going to be our strength, is sticking to what we know.
Yeah, good. Okay, as we wrap up here, you see sort of this trend nationwide of people wanting to start a business in the home service industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear more and more about it. You also hear about businesses owned by baby boomers who are retiring, and they want someone else to come run their business. For someone who's going to run a business like this, what's your biggest piece of advice? If they're getting started, what should they do?
Well, I guess from my own experience, I would say, be prepared to make a lot of sacrifices. At least for me, time was a big sacrifice. Making sure your family and, people that you're involved with have that understanding, mm-hmm. and just being resilient. Things are going to go bad no matter what. So be prepared for that. Again, lean on your good guys and, just move forward. I mean, that's pretty much all do it for me.
Yeah, good. Well, Branden, this has been great. Been good to talk to you and learn more about Atlas Gutter Co.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for being here today. And for all you listeners, all you watchers, thanks for being here for another episode of Building Loved Businesses. If you enjoyed this, share it with someone else in your circle, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite streaming platform so that you never miss an episode of Building Loved Businesses.